It wasn't enough that I had taken his bride before he said, I do. I wanted him to know, right there at the altar, with everyone watching, that she had already been mine. I never planned to ruin my brother's wedding. I didn't wake up that morning thinking I'd detonate the last bridge between us. But I guess the truth is, I'd already burned it long before the ceremony. I just hadn't told him yet. My name's Daniel. I'm 34. My brother, Mark, is 2 years younger. We grew up in Ohio, small town, nothing special. Our parents divorced when we were kids, and we ended up living with our dad, who was the kind of man that believed silence was strength and discipline was love. Mark was always the golden boy. Smarter, cleaner, more obedient. I was the one who got into fights, skipped class, smoked behind the garage. I don't think I ever really hated him, but I hated how easy things seemed for him. How people looked at him like he was the future and looked at me like I was the warning. We both moved to Chicago in our 20s. I worked construction, bounced around jobs. Mark went corporate, got a job in finance, started wearing suits and talking about quarterly returns. We didn't see each other much. Holidays, maybe. A few beers once in a while. Then he met her, Emily. She was beautiful, no doubt. Blonde, sharp eyes, the kind of smile that made you feel like she saw through you and liked what she saw anyway. I met her at a family dinner. She was polite, warm, laughed at my jokes. I remember thinking, of course she's with Mark. Of course. They dated for about a year before getting engaged. I didn't think much of it. I figured she'd be another thing he got right. Another piece of the perfect picture. I didn't expect her to call me one night, out of nowhere, asking if I wanted to grab a drink. I asked if Mark was coming. She said no. Said she just wanted to talk. I should have said no. I should have known better. But I didn't. We met at a bar near my place. She wore a black dress, simple, but it hit me like a punch. We talked. She asked about my life, my work, my past. She said Mark never talked about me much. Said she wanted to understand the family she was marrying into. I told her stories. Some funny, some dark. She listened like she cared. Like I mattered. I hadn't felt that in a long time. 1 drink turned into 3. We ended up back at my apartment. I don't remember who kissed who first. I just remember her hands on my face, her breath in my ear, the way she said my name like it meant something. We slept together. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't romantic. It was desperate. Like we were both trying to escape something. She left before sunrise. No words. Just a look. I didn't hear from her for weeks. I figured it was a mistake. A one-time thing. I tried to bury it, but it didn't stay buried. She called again. Said she couldn't stop thinking about it. Said she felt alive with me in a way she never did with Mark. I told her it was wrong. She agreed. Then she came over. It happened again. And again. Over the next few months, we saw each other in secret. Always at my place. Always late. She'd show up in a coat, nothing underneath. She'd cry sometimes afterward. Say she hated herself. Say she loved him but couldn't help herself. I didn't comfort her. I didn't know how. I just let it happen. I started to hate Mark more. Not because of what I was doing, but because of how blind he was. He'd call me, ask if I wanted to grab lunch. Talk about wedding plans. Ask if I'd be his best man. Said yes. I smiled. I stood next to him while he talked about love and commitment and forever. I shook his hand and told him I was proud of him. I was lying through my teeth. The guilt didn't come in waves. It came in silence. In the way I couldn't sleep. In the way I started drinking more. In the way I looked at myself in the mirror and saw someone I didn't recognize. I didn't love Emily. I don't think she loved me. But we were tangled in something toxic, something that fed on secrecy and shame. A week before the wedding, she came over one last time. She said it had to end. Said she was choosing Mark. Said she wanted to start fresh. I nodded. I didn't argue. I watched her leave and felt something hollow open up inside me. Not heartbreak. Not anger. Just emptiness. The day of the wedding was sunny. Big church, white flowers, hundreds of guests. I wore the suit Mark picked out for me. I stood beside him at the altar. I watched Emily walk down the aisle in a dress that made her look like something out of a dream. I listened to the vows. I held the ring. I smiled for the photos. Then came the reception. Speeches. Toasts. Laughter. I drank too much. I kept looking at her. She kept avoiding my eyes. I felt something boiling in me. Something ugly. Something final. When it was my turn to speak, I walked up to the microphone. I looked at Mark. I looked at Emily. I looked at the crowd. And I told the truth. I said I wasn't proud of what I was about to say. I said I knew it would hurt people. I said I'd slept with Emily. That it wasn't once. That it wasn't long ago. That it happened while they were engaged. That it happened more than once. I said I was sorry. But I didn't sound sorry. I sounded tired. The room went silent. Someone dropped a glass. Emily stood frozen. Mark stared at me like I'd just stabbed him. Maybe I had. I walked out before anyone could stop me. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I'll tell you what happened after. But first, I need to explain why I did it. Why I chose that moment. Why I couldn't keep it buried. I didn't go home right away. I walked the streets for hours, still in the suit, still drunk. I ended up at a motel off the highway. Paid cash. Sat on the bed staring at the wall until the sun came up. I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I just sat there, waiting for the weight of it all to crush me. It didn't. Not then. The calls started around noon. First from my mother. Then from Mark's best friend. Then from Emily. I didn't answer any of them. I turned off the phone and threw it in the drawer. I knew what they wanted. Explanations. Apologies. Damage control. I didn't have any of that to give. 3 days later, Mark showed up at my door. I hadn't seen him since the wedding. He looked wrecked. Eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched, suit wrinkled like he hadn't changed since that day. He didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, breathing heavy. Then he punched me. Right in the mouth. I didn't fight back. I just took it. Fell against the wall. Tasted blood. He said, "Why?" That was all. Just one word. I didn't answer. I couldn't. There wasn't a clean reason. No single moment that made it inevitable. Just a slow rot that started years ago and finally surfaced. He sat down on the couch, head in his hands. I sat across from him, holding a towel to my lip. We didn't speak for a long time. Then I told him everything. Not just the sex. I told him about the resentment. About growing up in his shadow. About how I felt invisible. About how Emily made me feel seen, even if it was twisted and wrong. I told him I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it would. I told him I hated myself for it, but not enough to stop. He didn't respond. Just stared at the floor. Then he said, "You ruined everything." I nodded. He was right. He left without another word. I haven't seen him since. Emily tried to reach me a few times after that. Left voicemails. Sent texts. Said she didn't know what to do. Said she never meant for it to go that far. Said she loved Mark and hated herself. I didn't reply. I didn't want to be her confessional booth. I didn't want to be anything to her anymore. The fallout was brutal. Mark moved out of their apartment. The wedding was annulled before the paperwork even cleared. Our family split down the middle. Some blamed me. Some blamed her. Most just wanted to pretend it hadn't happened. Holidays became awkward silences and missing chairs. My mother stopped inviting me. My father didn't say a word, just sent a check with no note. I didn't cash it. I lost my job a month later. Not because of the wedding, but because I stopped showing up. I couldn't focus. Couldn't care. I started drinking more. Stopped shaving. Stopped answering the door. I wasn't suicidal, but I wasn't really alive either. Just floating in the wreckage. One night I got a letter. No return address. Just my name on the envelope. Inside was a photo, me and Mark as kids, sitting on the porch eating popsicles. On the back, in his handwriting, it said, "I used to look up to you." That broke me. I spent the next few weeks trying to piece myself back together. Got sober. Got a new job. Started therapy. Not because I wanted forgiveness, but because I couldn't keep living like a ghost. I needed to understand why I did what I did. Why I destroyed the one person who ever truly believed in me. The therapist asked me once if I'd do it again, knowing what I know now. I said no. But I didn't say it with conviction. Because part of me still doesn't know. Part of me still wonders if I did it to punish him, or to punish myself. I don't talk to Mark anymore. I hear he moved to Seattle. Started over. I hope he's okay. I hope he finds someone who doesn't carry the kind of poison Emily and I did. I hope he forgets me. As for Emily, I don't know where she is. Last I heard, she was living with her sister. I doubt she'll ever reach out again. I wouldn't answer if she did. This isn't a story about redemption. It's not a cautionary tale. It's just the truth. Ugly, raw, and irreversible. I slept with my brother's fiancée. I told him at his wedding. I destroyed our family. And I live with that every day. Not because I want to, but because I have to. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.